Greetings and welcome to today's edition of Paint Here Now. I am Will Parody, and we are doing our third installment of looking at complementary colors. Today we are going to look at yellow and purple. Last time we took a gander at orange and blue. We used two kinds of orange and here, and two kinds of blue and here. Dark, you can see it buried. And we mixed all of these browns and grays and even purples from just these four colors, two blues, two oranges in different combinations. Look at the unbelievably useful, earthy, rich, sullen, and even in some cases fiery palette. Like, it's really awesome. From autumn leaf colors to a serene clouds and oceans to just a really nice abstract feel between the oranges, blues, purples, and grays. And the purples aren't even supposed to be purples. I love when that happens. It's because some of our orange is a little on the warm side. Actually, it was more, some of our blue was a little on the warm side as well as the orange. But predominantly this blue, darker blue in here, little warm. Which is to say, if you put it next to this blue, for example, it looked almost more purple, I guess. A little bit on the red tint of blue. Whereas this might be considered a little on the green tint of blue. So it's interesting to see how the colors reacted. So we did red and green, in fact. So we did this, which was also a lot of fun. Again, all the kinds of real rich colors. Lots of different browns and greens of dark colors. And we did this. This one definitely feels like it could be a landscape already. Even an abstract, kind of surreal seascape. Huh. What's so great about doing this kind of work and painting and just allowing yourself to experiment and flow with color and see what happens and mix these things is that your imagination can take hold and you end up being able to create these fields that can be anything that you really want them to be, and you can start seeing things happen. Anyways, it's really good stuff. So the complements, as a reminder, are a mixture of a pair. There's three pairs of primary colors. They consist of a primary and a secondary color, a warm and a cool. And those colors are red and green, respectively, blue and orange, and yellow and purple. And when you mix these colors together, they turn into grays and browns rather than become a darker version or one or the other, or turn into a new color. Like if you mix, yellow and blue, you get green. It's a whole new color. These turn into new colors, but they're hints of the original colors. They're browns and grays, and it's very, very useful stuff for depth painting, and we'll do demonstrations on that, more demonstrations on that, and just really can expand exponentially your color palette and your language of color and movement and form, because color is really dependent on the other colors that are dancing around next to it and how they come, and it's really great stuff. So that being said, if you have any questions about any of this, I hope you go back and look at some of our further videos, our earlier videos, I should say, where we talk more about color and color mixing and some of the basic values of, we talk a little bit about values, but yeah, the basic principles of art and color mixing. So to continue on that note, we're going to mix some yellow and purple and have some fun doing it. All right. So we have our water and brushes here. Let me see. It's the brush I'm looking for. Where are you? There's a few. This will work. I think this is the one. A brush like this, just kind of a flat-ended brush. You can do a lot of different things with it. I'm not getting real picky on brushes and brush types and this does what right now, because honestly, any brush can mark paint in any way. It's just a matter of, more or less, it's just a matter of what you do with it. So then we've got our handy ice cube tray as per usual. And we've got two purples here, a fluorescent purple and sort of a regular darker kind of a purple. One I think is a little cooler and the other is a little warm. And same with the yellows. We have a fluorescent yellow and a different kind of a yellow. I think this one is particularly called sunflower yellow. It's also a different kind. It's kind of an enamel acrylic paint. But it works very, very well with other acrylics. in my experience. So, and then we have this fluorescent yellow, so a little bit cooler and a little bit warmer. So let's see what happens when we put them on the surface. Start with our bright yellow. Now, just in and of itself, you can imagine, and I'm going to spread it around a little for the sake of showing you what this does. So you have a white page, and then all of a sudden, boom, we have these three circles, a bright yellow. Now, yellow is a color that will contrast off of white, but not as strongly as any other color will, darker color. But when you've got this fluorescent and this yellow, and it's all you have on here, it really contrasts off the white. And just these three marks make a focus. Your eyes going someplace, there's a reason in a way. They can kind of make a triangle. There's a question, there's a little tension. What can happen next? There's these marks that can lead you to other areas, and in here and in whatnot. Now what do you have? And then you can go on and on. I'm going to do a lot more than yellow on this. But with just these colors, especially a strong color like this fluorescent yellow, in the way that it is, like it's almost in and of itself, if you're just looking at it, it's electric on the eyes. Really go a long way to make a piece in this of itself and show us the different things that color can do with other colors. In this case, just this one color with the color of the paper itself. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome stuff. So this is a color that, not an enormous difference between when it's really thinned out. We'll use a little bit of water here. And when it's not, obviously there's some difference. But the darker colors will have a more pronounced gradient contrast in tone from lighter to darker. But see, that's what we can do all kinds of different things with this yellow. It's a neat color. Can be faded in here with a little water. And again, we're not, oh, hello. Again, we're not using any white. We are just using water and the light of the page coming through translucent or thin paint to lighten the colors and to get different tones and see what happens. And we've had a lot of success doing that, making a lot of variations. And in future lessons, we will end up using some white, of course, because it's a whole other thing. So anyways, other yellow. You can see the difference already. This almost looks orange. And it's close, but it's not. It's definitely still a yellow, but it would be one of those deep yellows, like a deep cadmium kind of a yellow or darker yellow. Indian yellow is one that they sell, and I love them. They're great types of yellows, and it's the difference is pretty apparent. The coolness of this and the warmth of this comes out, and especially because you have no other colors, this is now your mid-tone, and this is a strong contrast against both of these, especially the white. You can see that. And add some over here, and now the eyes coming around again. Almost like an abstract painting, we can go in and start flowing and adding form and stuff. Well, we don't get too carried away. Same idea, again, with the spreading of the color. You definitely can see the contrast, but of course, the lighter the color is, the less that tone contrast is going to be. But nonetheless, you can see the difference. All right. We're going to go to our dark purple to start. So this dark orange. Now this is a color. You can see how deep and dark it gets. And when it dries, like all acrylic paints, as it dries, they will darken some. Some do more than others, and it just depends on the brand, sometimes the color. Keep that in mind. That's something you can bank on. Acrylic paints tend to dry a little bit darker than what you'll see them. And when they're thick especially, they usually thicken up and darken up pretty good. So this will be even darker, but look at that nice, beautiful dark purple. Now, of course, there's no question about our dark contrast. These look a lot closer together now, don't they, when this purple comes around? So it's amazing. Again, color is dependent on the other colors around it, as well as the movement of them and the form and the relationships of everything. It's fundamental, and I think the more, like art is, we always learn, right? If we look at art history, we're discovering new things all the time. There was a time where perspective was an incredible discovery. The idea of using dots, pointillism or whatnot, to create larger images is an incredible discovery. Architecture, using paint itself 30,000 or more, or however many years ago, is an incredible discovery. Our discoveries are not over with art by any stretch. In fact, more than ever, we need to view art as a mode of and method of discovery. Not just a means of self-expression, but a mode of discovery about reality, about our perception of the universe and how it affects us and how art relates to our larger world and our lives. And I truly believe getting to understand the importance of these dynamic relationships of individual colors along the way, seeing the contrast, seeing how color affects every little thing and how every stroke matters is a fundamental element of the evolution of our art and our connection to it as conscious beings. So, anyways, you got all that? Take notes? All right. Good thing there's no quiz after this. I would probably not pass myself. Okay. So let's spread out this dark color a little bit and see. Now you can see much more clearly than here, even though this is, you can see it. But the range becomes a lot more obvious. See that? Big difference. Beautiful. And look at, I mean, it's such a lovely color, isn't it? You got this big, deep, dark, bold color. Plums and eggplants and whatever, all kinds of different things and dark flowers. And then you have this almost lilac-y color, very light color from this dark. So it's a very utilitarian and beautiful and useful color. And then we have the next purple. Let's go to it, saving the fluorescent purple. Now this, look at how this adds some interest to this. Some warmth for sure. Connects to this yellow a little bit more. I mean, in the fact that it has that fluorescent glow or, you know, aura about it. And really kind of abstract painting this. It's cool. So, again, you can see the gradations. More clear than the yellow, or they're more pronounced. Not as much as the much darker purple. Very neat color. You can already see what happens when we blend optically with this wet paint on this dry paint. It's a very cool color already. So let's get to some more of that color blending. Let us do some yellow and fluorescent yellow. We'll do fluorescent yellow to start. We'll bring it up over here. Fluorescent yellow and dark purple. Whoops, it's going to be a lot of purple. We'll save that. And so this dark purple, which is a little bit on the cooler side, it's not a super cold purple. There's some warmth in there, a little bit of red, I should say, and then blue, but it's definitely, it's not as warm and red as this purple is. And you can really see it has a much cooler effect when it's darker. So that's going to affect what our color is. Same thing with this yellow, which is a little on the cooler side, which is why we're getting something that's quite a bit like a green. Yeah, look at that. That's a very interesting green-gray. See how that thins out. Oh yeah, what a neat color. Neat, kind of a brownish green. Let's see what happens if we can add a little bit more the purple to it. And again, it's not like it's the coldest purple. So that's another kind of neat grayish color. Oh yeah, see, look at that. As we very good colors for a number of things. Kind of sandy gray. There's some cloud color in there. All kinds of different uses. And a color like this. Various skin tones if you want. Again, plant kind of material and stuff for lighter areas. Oh, adding a little bit of that to it already. Let's play around some more. Let's add some more of this fluorescent yellow. It really is a really interesting green. That's a nice color. I can see that being used in landscapes or different things. it's bold, but it can be used to bring back some really bold colors. Like if you have something that's like that, ooh, yeah, see, that could be really nice. You know, where they've got something like this in the forefront. If I could do it while it's all wet, and it bounces off nice off of this. They could be similar things. It's just one is closer than the other. So cool. Anyways, I like that. That's a nice greenish. So with colors like this, especially the yellow and the purple, and these being a little bit, you know, close to that yellow and blue, make green, you're going to get some things that are a little bit more on the green side. But you've got some really nice ranges of colors, of browns and some kind of green grays. When it's mostly purple, some yellow. I mean, that's a nice faded color. It's beautiful. You can definitely see this in shadows and all kinds of things. It's a nice gray. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on to stick with the dark purple and move on to the warmer yellow. That is pretty cool. Huh. Now the consistency of this paint's definitely a little bit different than the thinner yellow paint. I just don't. Wow! Look at this caramelly, beautiful color. Now that is a brown. That's thick and rich. It can be used for so many things. Again, sandy beach or desert. There's tree bark in there. There's plant color, dirt, skin tones, animals. It's beautiful on its own, abstract color. If you're, you know, trying to paint things like food, you know, if you want that in the mix. Colors like your browns and different types of greens and stuff, just, you know, colors like this will come up in there, you know. It's a caramelization type color, or there's, you know, a bread wheat color kind of thing. So, in variations of it. So this is a very beautiful, useful brown color here. Let's add some more of the yellow to it. We're not going to get a super amount of gray. We might when we add some more cool. We'll see. But we definitely have a predominant brown factor going on here, and it's really nice. See, that's pretty cool compared to this. And you can see how it's a color, especially if we add a little bit more to it. It can be used to bring this color back or use a shadow in it. See, that's so neat. So cool looking. Things that we can do just immediately by just applying some paint and having some fun. Let's go for a little bit more purple in this. Interesting. So that is a kind of a cool color. Again, it does to me lean up on the brown and purple side. It almost, there's grayishness there. But it's definitely heavy on the purple. Now, what's the difference between purple and violet, you might ask? We are talking about this color, so at least should examine this. Sometimes it's a matter of just interchangeable words. Other times, in an art, it's often referred to, and this is how I've read or studied it to be, and how I use it is, simply put, purple is a little bit more on the blue side, and violet's a little bit more on the red side. And if you want to have a distinction in how you know, making your colors and, you know, what you're choosing for what you know, trying to do. And so I would say this is more of a purple and that's more of a violet, but we can call it all purple in the larger whole of things. And then we want to break things down, then we can be more specific. Really like what this does. Yeah, see, even just with that, wow. Just sort of warming up the purple a little bit, darkening it up, bringing it back a little bit. See how it compares to this? It's a beautiful color. It's a really nice color. You know, colors like this can be used for so many things, and like including like the forest or things like that. As it gets to night or dusk, and you're painting something with a little bit less light, these colors, the purples start to come out. You can use these tremendously. So this is beautiful. Look at this, 2 colors. Should thin it out a little bit since I haven't done much of that with this combination. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. Let's now look at what happens when we use this different, warmer purple. So we're going to use our fluorescent purple, and we're going to use this warm yellow. We're going to save fluorescent on fluorescent for last. See what happens. So that is a real, this is interesting. What a cool pinkish, purpley, brownish color. I mean, this could be a fleshy color, you know, I mean, meat, well, to a degree, or body parts or organs. I mean, not that that's necessarily pretty per se, but it certainly can be made beautiful, and it's a part of nature and reality, and it's often a part of art. So there we go. But even without those connotations, this is such a beautiful color in and of itself. And I can see this finding its way in ground and dirt, in nature, and flowers, in a number of things like that. Even in some rocks, red rocks and stuff, I can see this as like a desert scene or big rocks sticking out. See, look at how the imagination can just take some colors splattered on a canvas or splooshed or dirked around and make something neat out of it. So let's keep going. We're going to add a little bit more yellow to it. And yeah, it's oops, let's see here. Definitely, and now we've got a little bit more on the brown side. See the difference between the two when we get close in value. One's definitely warmer and one is definitely cooler, greener and redder. You can see that between these two, I hope. Neat stuff. And then, of course, we spread it out and see the difference. Yeah, look how, I really like when you lighten it up. That's a really nice yellowish brown sand color. That's beautiful. All right, now let's get to some. What happens if we darken it up some? It's not going to be anywhere near like this. It's almost blackish colors that we got out of here. That's so cool. All right. But what an interesting difference to this originally. It's like, it's a pinkish color, pinkish burgundy. I don't know if it's burgundy, pinkish brown-ish. And a little bit more here. Again, a neat different tones of this brownish pink color with some white, and even lightened up. You can see this is, you know, again, flesh tones in there. Nature colors. Really neat stuff. Look at that. Look at this is so awesome. I love just playing around with color and mixing and getting these neat pictures out of seeing what simply 4 colors, 2 yellows, 2 purples can do. All right, well, let's get to some purple, fluorescent purple violet color here, and some fluorescent yellow, and see what happens while we still have a little bit of room. We got a pretty nice, lot browner. So the warmer purple and the warmer yellow definitely brought out the warmth in this, kept it more on the purple pinkish kind of a side, and then, you know, loosened it up here to these types of colors and stuff. Here you can see it's definitely The fluorescent yellow brings out a little bit more of a coolness. See the difference? A more distinct brown, that slightly greenish cool kind of tint comes out and really brings out the brown in this. Really cool. I really like that color. I like all these colors. See, nice temperature differences here, and it can all be very useful. They create some really nice subtle bounce and contrast. So let's do a little bit more of the purple. So again, you're not going to get these real dark, the same kind of dark purples in these as you will here, because the colors just aren't that dark, but real nice colors. Brings down the purple a little bit. Let's compare it to some of its. Yeah. See, again, I can see colors like this in all kinds of different flora, fruits, leaves changing color here and there. And use this kind of a thing. Reflections on water. Beautiful. Beautiful purple colors. Very nice. Almost a gray in here. You can see the grayness come out a little bit more in this color once we lighten it up. Nice kind of purple gray. Really nice stuff. So yeah, we're not going to get a whole lot darker, but again, we can just see how it really brings it down a little bit. Let's add a little bit more of this yellow and see what happens. Just how is it going to turn green at all, or is it going to stay on the brown side? Now some of this here you could almost use with some greens, I think, and some plant life stuff here and there. It might really pop out in certain areas, but it's definitely, there's some flora color in there. It's not green, but it's not supposed to be. But, sometimes these colors can bring that element out. I'm trying to see what relates and what can be useful. Oh yeah, really neat to see the difference between the cooler purple and the warmer purple in these colors, and really cool. No pun intended. See how if I put this over here, you can barely see it. It's a similar value. If I put it over here, you see it much more clearly because of the contrast. Same thing over here. Dark to light contrast and light to dark contrast. Anyway, so some more lessons there. Now just to add a bunch of stuff together, start mixing and matching a little bit. All our purples. And we get another set of browns to work with. Browns and potential grays, earth colors. So useful. Again, you can see there's a difference. It tends to be a warmer palette, and I thought it might a little bit browner than the others, especially the blue and the orange, which can get more. I think we saw a little bit more gray, cool gray color. But we got some real beautiful ones in here. But just the different possibilities. These are some nice colors. And so I hope you can see, just by spreading around these simple colors, we're just scratching the surface with what colors can do, but you can see how, even if you don't have much in your palette, you can only afford 2 colors, you can make whole paintings and whole scenes with just a couple of colors. If you learn to mix them and just understand the language, be able to let mixing and seeing what happens through experimentation of mixing colors motivate you to grow your canvas with that discovery and exploration. I guess that might be one not quite so simple way of expressing the idea. Another way might be the more you just mix and see what happens, the more you'll be able, you know, the more knowledge you'll have about and vision you'll have about what you can do on a painting with these colors. So anyways, we filled this up pretty nice. Not a bad piece in and of itself. All right, so next week, what we're going to do, I believe, card subject to change, agenda subject to change, is, oh, I want to try a little bit more purple. I want to see what happens in here. Oh, that's so nice. See that? That's a beautiful, that's a nice purple gray right in there. So yes, okay, so next week, I believe, and again, it might change, but what we're going to do is we're going to revisit the complements again, because I think this has been a real useful exercise to get a mix and see what happens. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually use them to make a painting. I think that's what we'll do. And we're going to do a painting all out of just red and green, a painting all out of yellow and blue, and a painting all out of orange. Let me say that again. Red and green and orange and blue and yellow and purple. Anyways, that's what I think we'll do. But let's just appreciate this before we leave it. I want to add just a little bit more of the cooler dark in here, because just for my eyes' sake. All right. So I hope you get an idea of, again, what you can do, the incredible palette and the choices you have, the shadow colors, the earth colors, the cloud colors, the incredible amount of colors that you have, night skies and so on. I mean, imagine this with little dots of yellow and white, and a big field with, you know, like a night scene. So just, I hope this gives you a better idea of what this small palette can do to create an enormous palette for your imagination to paint anything you want with. All right, well, here we go. Here's another example of what you can do when you mix complementary colors together. In this case, again, yellow and purple / violet. It's a little bit on the red side, violet, more on the blue side, purple, if you want to make a distinction. So, but again, awesome grays in here. Again, a lot of browns, a lot of almost unexpected purples and fleshier colors that come out, and just real interesting palette that develops when you mix these colors together. We're going to continue to work on this. Like I said a little bit earlier, next week, I think we'll probably explore the complements again, but making an actual painting out of it. I might make these different landscape scenes or something. We'll see, out of each of these, using just red and green, blue and orange, and purple and yellow, respectively. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Keep painting, making art, being creative. Have fun with it. That's really what it's about, and make it your own. That's also what it's about. Have fun with it and make it your own. Don't copy anyone else. Let your own heart and soul come out in your art and your creative expression. So thank you all very much once again for your ear and your time.